All right, it is 6 o'clock. Let's go ahead and get started. I'd like to first welcome everyone. It's so great to see people here and all of your shiny faces that are half covered. But I would like to call this meeting to order, and our first order of business is some introductions, because we do have some newer faces here, so we'll make sure that everybody knows who we are. I will go ahead. I will start first. My name is Cindy Levies. I am in the town of Mazo.
Jordan Sins, Village of Black Earth.
Angela Wolf, town of Mazo.
Mike Wagner, town of Black Earth.
Mary Beth Shaw, town of Mazo.
James Cartman, Village of Mazo.
Parks, that's Village of Black Earth.
Town of Black Earth.
Joe, do you want to start?
I don't live here.
That's okay. You're still here and we like to have you.
Block, Village of Plain.
Okay.
Mike Vetcher, Performance Services Design Builder. I'm located in Mass.
Gary Herrick, Village of Mazo.
Gary Demosky, Town of Black Earth.
Gail Green, Village of Mazo.
Ted Voss, Village of Wanakee.
That's
Scott
okay.
Moore, Village of Black Earth.
And Cheryl Knowles, basketball.
All right, wonderful. Well, thank you. If everybody could please rise, join me in the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Next order for business is to elect a chairperson for the meeting. Do I have a nomination?
I will nominate Jordan Sins as the chairperson for this meeting.
Great. I do have a first and a second. I do still need to ask, do I have any other nominations for chairperson? Do I have any other nominations for chairperson? Hearing none others, we will turn the table over to Jordan.
All right, thank you very much. So on to number 5, our annual meeting. Designated clerk, if the clerk is not present, but we are blessed to have Mike in our presence. So Mike Wagner will serve as the clerk for this meeting. So thank you, Mike. On to number 6, which is looking for approval of the minutes of the last annual meeting, and that is page 5 of the booklet if you wanted to reference that or look at that. So I will look for a motion to approve the minutes from the last annual meeting.
I will. I'll make the motion.
Okay,
I'll second.
There we go.
Cindy and
James.
James, any questions or comments regarding minutes? Hearing none, all of those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Carries unanimously. We are on to item number 7, which is my item, State of the Schools report. If you just want to look at page 6 of the packet, it's a short letter. And yes, I did update some of the language in here for this year. I just want to point out a few things. The third paragraph on that letter, I think, really important to note tonight. Our school district is blessed to have a supportive community behind it, a community that voted to support a facility referendum project that will positively impact Wisconsin Heights for decades to come. A community that has maintained a student focus even in the midst of some of the most challenging times our society has ever faced. Together we have maintained our focus on doing what is best for the students in our district. For that I am grateful. A few other notes I just wrote on here. I'm proud of our district. We continue to evolve and put technology and other tools in the hands of our students and staff. Learning has and will go on. We received the preliminary school report card for the last school year, 2021. Of the 421 districts in the state of Wisconsin, our achievement was in the top 16% of the districts in the state, and our student growth was in the top 18% of the districts in the state. I think that's a testament to our staff and to what we did last year. That's a testament to our families, that even in the midst of such a challenging year, we still maintain very high levels of learning and growth for our students. I want to thank our community for our operational support that we receive in addition to the capital referendum. We have a growing tax base with some smart fiscal moves. we're presently in a very good position financially, and I think you'll see that tonight in Cheryl's presentation. We're not perfect by any means, but we will continue to collaborate to produce high levels of learning for our students. I think that kind of epitomizes our Vanguard Pride motto. So I would say the state of the schools, there's a lot to be proud of in the Wisconsin Lake School District right now, and that's a testament to everyone in this room, so thank you very much. We will move on to number 8 on our annual meeting agenda, and that is the budget summary report, which will be presented by Cheryl Knowles, our business manager. Have a presentation that she's going to go through, excuse me, so Cheryl, take it over.
Okay, welcome to our 2021 budget annual meeting. I just want to remind you that on page 24 of your packet, there is a glossary of things that I might say during the presentation, but if you want any clarification, please stop me and I will try to clarify for you. Some of the things that we're going to review in our presentation is 4 of our larger funds. We're going to look at those separately. We're going to look at what makes up our funding, the change in equalized property value that we saw this year, our referendum history, our proposed Fund 10 budget, and of course the tax levy is what most people understand the most. So this chart is on page 8 of your packet. The top portion of the slide shows a summary of expenses for Fund 10, which is the general fund, Fund 27, which is the special ed fund, and Fund 50, which is our food service fund. The bottom portion, I've also broke down some of the bigger categories of expenses, but those are not separate from the top. Those are included in the top numbers as well. Then we skip to page 12. This slide shows a summary of our Fund 10 revenues and expenses. And just to point out at the top, right up here at the top shows our fund balance. And we have a strong fund balance right now in the district, which helps us so that we don't have to cash flow borrow at times where we get to our lowest cash points while we're waiting for tax dollars to come in. Our main funding sources are the state and local sources. The majority of our state sources are the Equalized aid, and then the local sources are our taxpayers. And that comes in the form of property tax and other fees. You'll notice that the expenses and the revenues on this sheet equal, which means we are proposing a balanced budget. And just to point out, one of the jumps on this page was in our federal revenue sources from 221,000 to 467, and that is due to our ESSER dollars that we're receiving from the state. Now on page 14, this is a summary of Fund 27. And Fund 27 cannot carry a fund balance from year to year. So at the end of each fiscal year, we have to make a transfer from Fund 10 into 27. And you'll see on the operating transfer in, so right now I'm estimating a $1.4 million transfer from Fund 10 to Fund 27. But we do wait until the end of the year and finalize all the expenses before that is completed. Now Fund 39, this is a newer fund for the district. This fund is where we levy for the new referendum approved debt. So looking at last year, we had $27 million go in and out, and that was due to our bond anticipating note. So we received money in December, and then we paid it back in March. And the reason for that was to start getting some interest on the dollars that we knew we were going to have. So This year, much different, 1.82. So our scheduled payment for our debt was actually $1,497,559, and we are going to levy $1.82 million for our debt payment. Now we have a couple reasons for that. We did have a decrease in membership, which puts us into a hold harmless, and what that means is we're going to receive 85% of our aid. We won't lose any more aid. So it's beneficial for us to do it during a year that we're in hold harmless. By paying the additional $322,000, over the life of the loan, we will save over $71,000 in interest. And then thirdly, by doing this, because of our equalized value going up, which you'll see in a minute, it will keep our mill rate more stable. So a summary of Fund 50, which is on page 15. We're still working hard to keep our food service costs down while continuing to provide good service. Our goal is to get the Fund 50 budget balanced. You will notice our transfer, first line of the revenues there, is budgeted at $18,000 less than last year. So we're going in the right direction. But just to give you some background, in the last 2 years, in 1920, we transitioned from having Taher as our food service management company to hiring our own food service director, which has been great for the district. But a few months after she started, we went into COVID mode. And so we got meals ready in-house to be shipped, families picking them up. And so nothing's been normal since we made that change. So even though there's a change in service in-house, we haven't really been able to budget efficiently for Fund 50. So again, I'll say the same as last year. It was kind of a stab in the dark, but with the meals, we're back at the rate that we were serving pre-COVID, and we also get a higher reimbursement rate as well. So I think we'll do okay at Fund 50. Now on page 23, there's a little chart that has the total, so the total expenditures for all funds. And you'll notice we're increasing by 81.8% from last year, and that's due to the construction project. That's kind of a
outlier.
Yeah. Not normal. So with the equalized value that I mentioned, this is on page 15 in your packet. And we're showing the past 7 years of equalized values. You'll notice that from 15-16 to 2021, we had a steady rise in our values. But this year, we had an over 10% jump in our equalized value for property. So that's from probably basically two things. One is new developments, and two is reassessing properties that are already there. So pretty big jump for this year. So what this means is that the total money that we collect from our taxpayers will be spread over a greater property value, which in turn has an adverse effect on our mill rate. Now this slide shows you municipality by municipality, last year's value versus this year's value, and then the percentage of change. So we always say, how are we funded? I kind of alluded to it in the beginning, that our revenue comes from state aid and local taxpayers. So this just gives you a breakdown of the percentage and the actual dollar amounts. So our taxpayers will be paying 84, just shy of 84% of our budget. Here's a summary of our last 10 referendums. I like to point this out because this is part of the money that we collect from our taxpayers. So in 2019, we had a referendum to exceed the revenue limits by 2.2 million for 5 years. And then we had our $27 million debt referendum that passed in November of 2020. So this chart of the amounts collected from the referendums, the operating helps us cover all those regular educational costs. And then we also have our capital referendum to cover the cost of the new elementary and the remodel that was completed. You'll notice that in 1920, the amount was 2.2 million. That was just the operating referendum. And then for 2020, 21, and 21, 22, they're higher. That does have the 2.2 million in it, as well as the amount that we paid off on our debt, or will pay off. On page 15, you'll see an 18-year average of the equalized values, tax levies, and mill rates. That's just, I put a little snippet there, but there is 18 years on your packet, and that's kind of nice to just look at and see how the trends have gone. And you'll notice on this slide that the total dollar amount for the tax levy is increasing by 6.62%. And because of the increase in the equalized value, the mill rate is actually decreasing by 3.52%. So in 2021, our mill rate was $11.92, which means $11.92 per $100,000 of equalized property value. And this year, we're looking at $11.50. Just remember, though, that every municipality will be impacted differently depending on the percentage of each municipality's equalized value versus the district's total equalized value. So the average change based on a $200,000 property will decrease this year by $84. On page 13, so finally, the proposed 21-22 general fund budget by function totals the $11,999,327. This is the format that I'll be proposing to the board later tonight to approve by two-digit functions. That's the way by state rules. And if throughout the year I need to transfer in between those functions for some reason, I bring those back to you at the end of the year to have you reapprove that revised budget. Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you, Cheryl.
Thanks, Jill.
Cheryl provided a presentation. I guess I just want to give one more opportunity under the heading of public hearing and review of the 21-22 budget, especially to our visitors. Do you have any questions for Cheryl and myself regarding the presentation of the 21-22 budget?
And Jordan, this information will be available like on our website or wherever, so when the public wants to take a look at it?
Yep, and it has been for the last couple of weeks. It was posted in the local newspaper as well, as per statute, so it's been available. And it certainly is. If they want a copy, we can get them a copy as well. Any other questions? All right, hearing none, we will move on to number 10 on our annual meeting agenda, and that is new business. There are 4 resolutions that we annually take a look at the annual meeting. The first one is for the adoption of the tax levy for the 21-22 fiscal year. The second one is for the provision of school board salaries and reimbursements. Dollar amounts are listed for what they were, or what they are actually were the previous year. Number 3 is for the provision of hot lunch and breakfast programs. And resolution number 4 is for the authorization of provision of legal proceedings on behalf of the district. In past years, we've gone both ways, taking all of these at once or having separate resolutions. So if someone wants to make a motion to take it either separately or together, I will entertain that.
I'll make a motion for all 4 resolutions.
Second. And a second from Matt. So we are looking at resolution 1, 2, 3, and 4 together under new business. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. All right, those resolutions carry unanimously. So I'm writing notes. On to number 11, which is the establishment of the 2022 annual meeting date. The recommendation would be 6 p.m. on Monday, October 24th, 2022, which is the corresponding date to tonight. We have a motion to set the annual meeting date for October 24th, 2022.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Angie and James, any questions or feedback on that? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, signify by saying nay. Carries unanimously. Anyone in attendance have any other business they would like to discuss, which may be legally addressed at the annual meeting? Going once, going twice. Okay. Thank you very much. This time, I will look for a motion to adjourn the meeting. James and Matt. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Carries unanimously. I have 6:23 p.m. Thank you everyone for attending. Board will take a 7-minute recess and restart with our regular meeting at 6:30.
Thanks, Gary.